Gina, good, you're back. Police must have finished questioning her then. Oh, how was it, Ginny? Was it awful? Didn't bother me. Thank you for the papers you signed before. It meant we were able to investigate at Windybanks. Don't you want to know how we got on? We've been ever so busy. What's the point in asking? Won't change what everyone's saying, that I did it. That's not... Gina, we came to ask for your final decision. What decision? About tomorrow's trial. Will you let me defend you or not? I must submit the paperwork now if you would like Mr. Naruhodo to represent you. Right, I see. Really lost her fight all of a sudden. But I know what that feels like. The worry is just so hard to bear. Oh, alright then. Let me give it a rest with them icy iris. Yeah, come on then, fill us in. Who done it? Fortunately, we don't know that yet. You don't say. Don't know yet, Gina. But Mr. Naruhodo and all of us know that you're innocent of the crime. And while we haven't yet managed to work out who the real culprit is, there are a number of interesting facts that we have managed to establish. Oh yeah, like what? Well, for example, the reason for you being there in the first place. I think I know now why you broke into Windybanks that night. It looks like I'm going to have to take some evidence that clearly reveals the reason. And thrust it in Gina's face, or I could present it her calmly, I suppose. We already have the representation papers and other documents we need. All we have to do is send them to the court clerk. That is, if you will allow me to represent you in court tomorrow. Nah, don't bother. Any repem apart and jankem, whatcha? Them representation papers, or whatever they are called. This cell ain't fancy enough to ever been. So what will you do in court tomorrow? I will be fine on my own. I don't think you would be. Look, it don't matter. What's gonna happen is gonna happen. This one stubborn pickpocket. We found this in Mr. Windybank's storeroom. The manuscript of Iris's latest story. Alright, well that's good then. Curiously, the storeroom at Windybanks showed no sign of being ransacked for items of value or the like, with one exception, the box file that housed this manuscript. It was you, wasn't it, Gina, who broke open the box containing this manuscript last night? You were determined to find out whether or not the Hound of the Baskervilles was really there. That's the real reason you broke into the storeroom last night, isn't it? Why don't you tell us what happened, please? Alright, yeah, this Baskerville story, it's the latest Chomps adventure, right? But it ain't been printed yet, so I figured it's gotta be worth a fair pieces of silver, alright? Oh yes, at least 5,000 pounds. What? So you intended to sell Iris's manuscript, did you? No, Ginny, how could you? But wait, no, hang on. Of course, I weren't gonna sell it. All I wanted to do was find out if the mental script or whatever you call it really was there or not. That's the only reason I was in the place. For Iris's sake, isn't that right? We know why you would done it from the start, Gina. Of course we did. But I knew you wouldn't do anything like that, Ginny. Just knew it. When I saw the manuscript in the storeroom, it reminded me of what you had said the night before. Grown-ups do a lot worse than that, believe me. Barefaced liars, a lot of them. You just ain't realized it yet. I'm telling ya, that mantle script ain't at Windy Banks. You would soon see if you had a look. If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. I mean that I sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere I don't know. Even though it's wrong of me to doubt him. Oh, Ginny, that was so sweet of you. Alright. I will tell you why I did it. Just stop looking at me like that, Iris. It weren't because of Iris, that's not why I did it. I just wanted to know the truth, that's all. I wanted to know if Mr. Chalmers was being honest, if he would really deposited the manuscript at Winniebanks. Like I told you the night before, I never ate a father. But Iris ain't like mine. She got her dad on. And I reckon that's gotta be harder. That's why she writes her stories. They're about her dad, really. That's what it sounded like to me anyway, last night when I was listening to her saying. Stories about Daddy? You mean they are not the adventures of a great detective? So much as the adventures of a great detective and his trusty partner? Well, that's how I see it, yeah. You're so thoughtful and so kind, Ginny. Yes, and we never thought any differently, did we? Look, give it a rest, will ya? I ate all this chummy nonsense. You hear me? I ate it. I don't trust no one, right? That's how I work. Because if you don't trust no one can let you down. So leave me alone. Go on. Sharper. I hadn't noticed until now, but it's unmistakable. Right there on both sleeves of that overcoat are some very suspicious red stains. But why are you looking at me like that? We were presenting some of our other findings in that area to Gina now. Those stains on the sleeves of your new coat, Gina, they are blood, aren't they? Not that I know whose blood yet. Blood, Mr. Naruhodo? You don't appear to have any obvious wounds yourself, though. So could it be blood that's spattered from Mr. Windybank when he was shot last night? Let's not beat around the bush here. This trusty friend of mine will get results much faster than anything else. Don't move, Ginny. I'm going to shoot. Oh my. What the... Forget the sleeves. The whole coat is covered in blood. Of course. The black color of the fabric was masking the stains. That's why we haven't seen them until now. And the blood has reacted with the chemical to turn a purple color, which matches one of the samples we've already collected perfectly. Yes, now let's see. Who had the purple blood? Aha, yes, it was the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, the victim of the murder case 2 months ago. I knew. But what are you all on about? The victim? What do you mean? A rather uncomfortable situation, Mr. Naruhodo, but I think this makes things quite clear. It means the omnibus case is finally solved. The truth about who really murdered the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, is revealed. Oi, would someone explain what's going on? Stop telling Alf a story. You can see now that the victim's blood is all over Mr. McGillet's overcoat. But in the the trial 2 months ago, the defendant said this in testimony. Now I ask you, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about my gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. But if you look at this overcoat now, it's clear. These stains couldn't have arisen from McGilla trying to pull the victim to his feet. Now, if that was what had really happened, the blood wouldn't have splashed all over the front of the coat. The only explanation for this pattern of blood is that it splattered over McGillet's coat when he stabbed the victim in the stomach. I've tried to run from the truth for so long, but there's no escaping it now. The true culprit in that case is Sir Mason's killer, Magnus McGildet. Naruhodo. That horrible case is solved at last, and I helped the man walk free from that trial. I used all that twisted testimony and all that sham evidence to prove his innocence. How could I have let that happen? Bruno, did you believe him though? Did you believe Mr. Miller was innocent? I believed, or rather, I think I was trying to believe. I wanted to, because believing in those you represent in court, the defense lawyer's greatest weapon. A weapon? Before we came to Great Britain, a great friend of mine taught me a valuable lesson. Kazuma's. Listen, Ryunosuke, we lawyers are only human. We can't know for sure what is the truth and what is a lie, which is why we must resort to our primary weapon. An unwavering belief in our clients. That's all we really have. Unwavering belief? Only when we truly believe what our clients tell us can we fight with everything we have for their cause. In any battle, there can be no victory without faith. So I believe you, unwaveringly. What's funny, Gina? Sounds like in Empire of Japan you come from, everyone must be soft. Well, come on. Look at the mess it's got you into, believing in that fuck-brother. Yes, I inadvertently helped the murderer walk free. Well, at least you've learned your lesson now, eh? Believing in people's never worth it. Someone always stabs you in the back in the end. As soon as you let down your guard, you've added. Take a leaf out of my book. Believe no one. Get hurt by no one. May I ask you something? What? I would just like to make absolutely sure. What would you like us to do with these representation papers for tomorrow's trial? Oh, how many times do I have to say it? Rip him and chuck him away. Are you really sure that's what you want? I bet that's what he wants on all now. Mr. I'm a believer lawyer over there. Don't forget, it was me in the trial 2 months ago. I led everyone up the garden path, didn't I? And you're telling me you can believe in me after that? Not likely. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, lawyer's primary weapon is an unwavering belief in his clients. Ultimately, it comes down to whether or not I feel I can trust Gina after everything that's happened. Gina, let me say it again. Please allow me to represent you in tomorrow's trial. Are you half-baked? Not at all. You're not once admitted to committing the crime, have you? What's more, I believe that you're telling me the truth. Seriously, the Naruhodo. Didn't you hear all of what I said before? I'm a born liar. Fibs just strip off me tongue. And I'm a diver, don't forget. I pulled the wool over your eyes 2 months ago and got you into all sorts of trouble. Why would you ever trust me now? I just don't get it. Gina, I do understand why you choose not to put your trust in others, but I assure you, there is more to this life than you can realize. What do you mean? The world we live in is full of people you would do very well to trust. People who won't ever let you down. It's true that I'm just a student of law, and I'm currently lacking in courtroom experience, but I can promise you this. Whatever happens, and until my very last breath, I am completely on your side. You expect me to say to that? Then it's decided. I will take these papers now and carry out the necessary preparations for tomorrow's trial. It would be a shame to throw them away now after it's been penned with your name so beautifully. Do what you like. You Eastern lot or I don't know what you are. I don't get ya. Gina's taking herself off to the back of her cell. Could never admit it, but I hope she's feeling relieved. That turned out alright in the end, I think. Who's ever hiding there? Show yourself at once. Eavesdropping is the height of cowardice. Miss Otto? Somebody is there in the shadows. I can sense it. Somebody who wasn't there before. What? Timmy, you're sharp, eh? I suppose you were using one of those mystic Japanese arts like the art of stealth I've heard so much about. If anyone was being stealthy, it was you, Inspector. Rexy! Oh dear me, I'm most terribly sorry, your ladyship. I didn't mean to startle you. How long have you been listening in our conversation? Good grief, listening in? No. I just got word that there were some visitors who were refusing to leave, even though it was after hours. I assure you, your ladyship, I only just arrived, this very minute, not a moment earlier. That's all it is, nothing untoward, nothing at all. After hours? Isn't it late already? So then, I will humbly excuse myself now, your ladyship. Ta-da, toodaloo, cheerio, all the best, bye-bye and bye. That's a lot of farewells, and not one of them appropriate for her ladyship. Oh, but I wanted to have a chat. I am terribly sorry, but time is pressing at the minute. Oh, I see. That's a shame. If I don't get this emergency at the Supreme Court dealt with, sharpish Lord Strongheart well... Emergency? Lord Strongheart? Nothing, forget I said anything. Anyway, I'm off. Alright, Grexy, if you have to, but let's chat soon. Delighted, charmed, can't wait, if you please, my pleasure. A lot of pleasantries, and not one of them sounded sincere. Grexy's so funny. He's such silly things. It's certainly entertaining to see an inspector of the police fawning to a 10-year-old girl. But anyway, I'm emergency. Must attend to the court clerk's office now before it closes. Yes, of course. Thank you, Miss Susato. Kindly escort Iris home now, Mr. Naruhodo. I shall meet you there later. So our investigation came to an end. Susato-san went to file the necessary papers for my defense of Gina the following day. Then it hit me. I could no longer suppress the wretched feeling that had been gnawing away at my insides. Tomorrow, Susato-san would be leaving Britain, making her way back to Japan. Naruhodo-san, been a very trying day, hasn't it? I do hope you're not too exhausted. How about you, Susato-san? Ray has been even more trying for you, I'm sure. Chums were shot before our eyes. She was arrested. All on the back of the news that her father has fallen ill and that she must return to Japan at once. I hope your father recovers soon. Thank you for your kind words. I wonder why it is. So many thoughts rage in my head like a storm, and yet I'm able to find the words to express any of them. I know exactly what you mean. Anyway, I have one final task to complete as your judicial assistant. Once that is done, I shall make preparations for my departure tomorrow. Final task. It's just 2 months since we arrived in London, but we've managed to establish this office. Finally feeling as though we were settling in. I would be lying if I felt no regret. So sorry, Susato-san. It's just so sudden. I really don't know what to think. I've had no time to gather my thoughts. No, we've only been here a short time, but my limited experience of the courtroom, I feel I've learned something. And what would that be? To me, there are many facets to people's personalities. And like a jewel, the light plays of them in complex patterns, illuminating their actions and their motives. But we see only Das ist doch ein Sie zu viel. But we only see a small number of the total facets, and what is illuminated is only a part of the whole story. What lies in the shadows? What do those facets we cannot see look like? Perhaps there are some parts we will never lay eyes on for as long as we live. So true. Sometimes I feel as though I'm blind to so much. But I keep hoping that one day it will all become clear. That all the facets will be illuminated and I finally understand how everything fits together. Suppose what matters is that we keep our eyes open and moving forward, even if the way sometimes is dark. Amazing to think it's been... You've grown so much. Sorry, of what? Oh no, it was nothing. Unimportant. Do you know what time you will leave London in the morning? Yes, I picked up my ticket earlier. I shall be leaving at 4 AM. Okay. Well, I will escort you to the station. Absolutely not. Sorry? I'm sure you realize why I couldn't possibly do that. You have a very important day ahead of you tomorrow. Well, yes I know, but every word you utter will have the potential to determine Gina's fate. You must get as much rest as possible, even though, like me, I'm sure you will find it hard to sleep. But please for me, do try. You mentioned one final task a moment ago. What did you mean? Oh my, I nearly forgot. Please, I want you to have this. What is that? Some huge bundle of documents? My notes. Case 2 months ago. Murder that was committed on the omnibus. The McGillett case. Seems to me that this case of Mr. Windybank's murder, of which Gina is accused, very much tied up with that omnibus case, ways that are not yet completely apparent. So I took the liberty of consolidating my writings about the case. Everything else she's had to think about, but to some still managed to, and all neatly laid out for me in her beautiful handwriting. It was my pleasure. I can only hope that it will bolster your case tomorrow for Gina. Thank you so much, Susato-san. I will do my best to use it wisely. You really are the best judicial assistant in the world. Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure. Sorry? I didn't quite catch what you said there. Oh, ignore me. I was just mumbling to myself. Well, it's getting rather late. I think you should go to bed now, Naruhodo-san. I must finish packing up my room. Naruhodo-san, I wish you the very best of luck tomorrow. Night. Wait, there's something I need to say. What was that? Secret technique of mine, the Susato shutdown. Shutdown? Please, I implore you. We have to voice our goodbyes. I won't be able to hold back my tears. Susato-san. It surely had been a trying day. On our feet for hours, getting Gina to open up to us, and learning the truth about that nemesis of a case. Physically and mentally, I was exhausted, and yet the idea of sleep seemed impossible. But I forced myself to close my eyes, and as a cacophony of scenes of our lives here in London played through my mind. Eventually, my fatigue triumphed, and I fell into a deep sleep. Yes, I quite understand. That is a great weight off my mind. Rest assured, I shall put everything in place exactly as we have discussed. Thank you so much. It has been an honor and a pleasure to be acquainted with you, Mr. Sholmes. On the contrary, the pleasure has been mine. I bid you farewell, and Godspeed. My dear madam. To be continued. Okay, was war das jetzt? Hä? Okay, hä? Okay. Das irgendwie gefühlt sah das jetzt so nach shady shit aus über so ein krummes Ding, was die da besprochen haben. Okay, da bin ich jetzt auch noch gespannt, ob da auch noch irgendwas, also ob wir erfahren dürfen, was Susato mit Holmes besprochen hat. Aber ich gehe mal stark davon aus, dass im nächsten Part unsere Verhandlung beginnt und dieses Mal werden wir nicht Susato an unserer Seite haben, die uns unterstützt. Aber ich hoffe trotzdem, wir kommen da gut durch. Wir haben die Notizen von ihr bekommen. Und ich muss echt sagen, Susato, also sie sagt von sich selbst, sie hat versagt. Aber komm, die macht so viel, die schafft so viel. Die hilft uns immer aus der Patsche, weiß super viel, recherchiert immer genau. Also ist wirklich so, wie Naruhodo gesagt hat, sie die Beste in ihrem Fach ist. Und mir wird Susato auf jeden Fall fehlen. Ich bin gespannt, ob wir sie in diesem Fall dann nochmal wiedersehen oder ob es dann erst im zweiten Spiel soweit sein wird. Müssen wir mal gucken. Im nächsten Part geht es auf jeden Fall los mit dem Prozess. Hier gibt es jetzt erstmal wieder einen Cut. Ich bedanke mich ganz herzlich fürs Zusehen. Hoffe, ihr hattet Spaß. Und wenn ihr mögt, sehen wir uns sehr, sehr gerne im nächsten Part wieder. Bis dahin. Ciao.